what's going on, everyone? I want to talk about God of War, and this isn't a late to the party review or anything like that. This is going to be my take on the video game, basically. God of War was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was the reason why I went out of my way to look for a used PS4 to even play it on. Basically, what it comes down to is that God of War was a system seller to me. It doesn't mean that that's going to be the case for everybody. I'm not telling you to go out and buy one, but that's what happened to me. I had an extra couple $100. I was willing to buy a PS4 for $200, and then I was willing to buy God of War for $60. So I was looking at about $300. I got lucky and found a PS4 for $120. The week I got the PS4 was the same week that God of War was on sale. I got it for about $30, $33 or something like that, and basically I saved a lot of money. Well, depending on how you look at it, I could have lost a bunch of money if you're a fanboy and you don't want to play this game whatsoever. Anyways, so I started this game on hard difficulty, and that goes with most games. I got about a quarter way through the game, and boy, let me tell you, if I were to just stuck with the main storyline, I probably could have just finished it on hard. As you play the game, you'll see that the developers took so much time, and so there had to be so much patience and just love and care that they put into this thing. They just scattered things here and there, and sometimes, yes, they could easily be missed, but if you just pay attention and you just explore a little bit, you'll be just fine. But I do have to say, this is the second time I'm bringing up Solid Rev in one of my videos, and I'm not clout chasing or anything like that. I'm not trying to just get YouTube famous or whatever by using his name. It's not like that. It's just I respect the guy and his opinions and stuff like that most of the time. But anyway, so he basically did the same thing. He started off on hard, and then he went back and played on normal. And I saw that video, and it was like, well, he was veering off and doing side missions. I was doing the same thing. So I didn't want to go against the kind of gamer I was. I like to explore, and if hard was too hard for me to explore, then I needed to drop down a tier just to enjoy the game. And the way he did it, I believe he said that he went and played through normal after starting over, and then he just played the campaign. He didn't even do the side missions when he restarted, but I did. So when I went through it the second time on normal, I went all the way through and I did every exploration that I could possibly think of. I didn't skip any side mission bosses. I did all the quests that I could find, and I even did the Valkyries, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So just to go back to the side missions for a little bit, I do want to say that just because I wasn't able to complete the game on the hard difficulty the first time playing through because I wanted to do the side missions, doesn't mean that they were not achievable, because like I said, I went through a quarter of the game doing everything I could do, beating every boss that I could find along the way on hard. I did it a quarter way through, and basically I know I could do it. It's just it was taking me too long to beat the freaking bosses. Sometimes they were just normal guys. Like there's this island with a couple like Draugr, and they had swords and they would just lunge at you, and it was the first time I ever saw one of those things, and those suckers took me like 15 minutes just to beat regular guys, not even a boss. And the whole point of that little island was just to go and break open a chest, and I spent 15 minutes on it, and that kind of thing just pissed me off. Basically, I don't have that much time. I have about maybe an hour, 2 at the max, about almost every day, but most of the time it's every other day. I don't have time to game 3 or 4 hours every day. I simply don't. So when it's taking me 15 minutes to beat a Draugr, a simple nothing, it's this game would take me months to complete, and that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to enjoy myself, explore what I wanted to explore, and be able to beat what I wanted to beat, especially as Kratos. I mean, you're the fucking God of War, you know? It's like you don't want to be beaten by a couple wolves. I mean, you're Kratos, so if you're getting tag team by a couple regular wolves, it doesn't feel good, and it doesn't bring the name God of War, you know? Anyways, that's my little take on hard difficulty. It's possible. It's just not something that was possible for me. So I've talked about the side missions, and I do want to talk about some of these boss fights. Pretty much every boss battle, it was either extremely hard and visually appealing or just visually appealing, and I was completely fine with that. I mean, when I say hard, I mean they were they gave me a run for my money. I had to start a couple times in most cases. There's only one part with the main bad guy where the second time you fight him, it was kind of a throwaway fight for me. I don't want to spoil too much of the game, but you do fight him another time, and I don't want to say how many more. But the fights with that guy were mainly visually appealing, but the first time you fight him, it was both difficult and it looked really cool, because when you start playing this game, they kind of just throw you to the wolves pretty much. So yeah, boss fights are amazing. Doing the little side missions where you free the dragons, that was also one of my favorite parts of the game. I honestly was hoping that it would give you the option to kill a dragon and or free it, so depending on what the attitude, maybe you could talk somehow to the freaking dragon. I know we're not playing Skyrim, but I don't know. I was just hoping you could do a little bit more with those dragon side missions, but yeah, those were pretty cool. If you're really into upgrading your gear, your skills, or whatever, you really need to go out and explore. I mean, you could stick to the main storyline and upgrade maybe once or twice, and you'll be fine. But I'm kind of an RPG player most of the time, like Fallout 3 and stuff like that. Skyrim, obviously. So if you like doing that, if you like upgrading, if you like getting experience points, do those side missions, and you'll get up there, basically unlock everything. I do want to go into the storyline, the main storyline. Basically, it's okay by itself. I don't think it would have gotten, well, no, I can't say that it wouldn't got as much recognition as it did, because a lot of work went into the main storyline, but altogether, when you combine the side story missions and the main story missions, it just flows a lot better. What I mean by that is basically like the main storyline is like the meat and bones, but those side stories, that's where you really get to know Atreyu and Kratos. You do get to see Kratos' humanity a little bit more in this game than I would say in the original 3. So yeah, that was interesting too. But yeah, main storyline, it was okay. Just the culmination of everything is what really impressed me. So there's that. So if you're going into this game and you hear about how this game involves Norse mythology, then don't expect the Marvel's version. It's clearly more derived from the authentic Norse mythology that we have in our real world, but it is its own thing. It does veer away from it, and it does make it its own. So don't expect either or. Don't expect Marvel's and don't expect our real version. But it's heavily more on our real version and not Marvel's. Just to let you know. And if you're going into this game expecting an explanation or something that will help you link the new God of War to Kratos in God of War 3, then I'm sorry to break it to you, it's not going to happen here. Might have missed it, but with all the exploration that I did do, and I did pay attention to the storyline, I don't remember it telling me what exactly happened. Kratos kind of just shrugs it off. Like, he just avoids talking about his past as much as possible, and you'll see that. A new addition to the God of War franchise was Atreus, and I used him a lot in the game. And he shoots arrows that can either do ice arrows or electrical arrows, and those really, really helped out. But to be frank, there was a lot of the times where I didn't need to use it. I just use it for that little extra damage or to distract the enemies, and that's kind of what you're supposed to do, I believe. But it pretty much was unnecessary. Like, I could see how you only need to use Atreus like once or twice. So if you basically want to be a tryhard and you want to beat the game with only Kratos and because God of War and blah 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 blah, well, then you can do that. And you can use Atreus sparingly, and that's fine. But it's a nice addition to the story because you're working with your son, and the relationship between you two grow throughout the game. It's a really nice addition. They did it with good taste. After you beat the game, there is New Game Plus. So basically all the extra hours you're going to be playing is going to happen. Yes, your items, skills, and enchantments do come over, I believe. Pretty sure all of them do. Yeah. And the only thing that happens is that in order to open the doors that lead into the Valkyrie chambers, in order to open those, you need to have it unlocked for you later on in the game. And if you go on New Game Plus, those will be locked right away. So if you're interested in doing the Valkyries, definitely do those before you start New Game Plus. So when you do start New Game Plus, if you do decide to do it, the enemies do start out a lot stronger. They have more health, and I noticed they had a couple new moves, basically. Either new moves or moves that enemies get at the end of the game, like if you further continue the search for new quests and all that stuff. So yeah, enemies are they're much harder. So we've talked about a lot of the game itself. We have not talked about graphic fidelity. Me being a PC gamer, it kind of implies that I'm a graphics whore, but I'm not running the best graphics card or CPU on the market. But I do have enough to get at least 1080p, 60 FPS on most games. As a PC gamer, I could say this game is very pretty. And I'm playing on a base regular original PS4, and I could only imagine how much clarity, and I'm sure it runs better on the PS4 in general. Maybe it just constantly hits 60 FPS, but on the PS4 it's okay. The graphics it's pumping out, it is well optimized, but it does have like some issues. It does drop below 30 frames a second frequently when you're using, especially when you're using Atreus and he's using his lightning attacks from his arrows, and then you're doing another move on top of that it bogs the whole system down, and you could tell it's just chugging along, but it doesn't stop. I haven't had one crash with the PS4. You could hear the fans pumping. Yeah, that's basically it. It's well optimized for the PS4, but damn, I wish it would be crossed over to the PC, to be honest. I do appreciate everything the developers did at Santa Monica. It's insane how they packed this game into the PS4, because it's lacking in a lot of areas, and I'm surprised it could run it, to be honest. So I'm happy with the graphics, and like I said, the frame rates were garbage sometimes, mainly towards the end, because that's when you have everything powered up. There's more things are happening on the screen at one time towards the end of the game, and that's when it starts bogging down the most. Okay, another really good thing that the developers at Santa Monica did. Okay, you boot up the game, and then that's it. No more loading screens unless you die. If you die, of course there's going to be a loading screen, but you boot the game up, and if you do not die in your whole playthrough, you will not see a loading screen. That, my friends, that right there is so amazing, and something that should be like, it's 2018. This is something that should have been standard years ago, but these guys know what the hell they're doing. They know what we wanted as gamers, and they freaking delivered. In the end, is it worth the $60 retail price? Yeah. If you look at what I had to do to get the game, to play it, because I didn't know anybody that had a PS4, I had to go out and buy it. So technically it was worth more. I had to go out and find a used PS4 for $120. Thankfully the game was on a digital sale, and I got it for $33 and some change. So all in all, I was $150 in, and I couldn't be happier. I've been playing pretty much that game, and I'm starting to play The Last of Us right now. But yeah, that game alone, I would have been happy. I'm going to replay this God of War at least a few more times. So it's well worth the money to me. I've made worse investments, so I'm happy. Full recommendations. I'm not going to give it a score. If I do decide to do more reviews, I might do that later on, but for right now, I just want to let you know that it was worth it for me. And if you have a chance to play it, go out there and play it, boy. I can't do the voice, but you'll know what I mean if you play that game. You'll hear that a lot. Boy, rambling now. So have a good one.